Welcome to the Mr. Fantasy Freak Philadelphia podcast. I'm Alex Weisner, here once again with Jackson Ryan. Jackson, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Let's get this going.
Yep, today we're going to talk a little bit about the Eagles, the Phillies, and the 76ers, and then we're going to play a little game. Let's start things off with those Eagles. On Monday, they take on the New England Patriots. We mentioned this last week, how the Eagles got off to a slow start last year, and they finished strong. Looking over the numbers, they were 4th in total offensive yards last season, 5th in rushing, 9th in passing, and in terms of point differential, they were the 5th best team in the NFC.
They tripled up the Cowboys, who were second highest in point differential in their division. The Giants were -6 and won the Super Bowl, so it just goes to show you.
Goes to show you what a healthy Michael Vick can do, and this season we know that he's healthy. And how do you think that, we're going to talk a little bit about odds on Michael Vick later on, but a healthy Vick can go a long way. How do you think if he is healthy, how's that going to affect them down the stretch this season?
I'm pretty high on the Eagles if they can keep Vick healthy. He's really the key piece to their lineup, as we talked about before.
And that's true, and health always seems to be a big issue in Philadelphia. Switching over to the Phillies now, Howard out for a majority of the season. Utley, we know they lost Halladay for a long time. But since last time we spoke, they were 3-3, and as of right now, they sit 20 games back in the division with a record of 54-65. Earlier on in this week, Halladay had a great performance, but
he was outdueled by Mark Burley, none other than the crafty lefty himself. He pitched 7 innings, 3 earned, 7 Ks, did Halladay. Still making improvements, not as good as his 2 previous starts, but he's still making strides towards his old self.
Yeah, and we run the fantasy website, MrFantasyFreak.com, and Roy Halladay, slowly but surely, is climbing the ranks. So things are looking up for the Phillies, but at the same time, they are rebuilding, and we understand that. Ryan Howard struggling, career-high strikeout rate, and a career-low walk rate right now. So a lot of concerns out there in Philly, but there's always the potential upside of younger players.
Yep, Dominic Brown is up and playing every day, so we get to see what he's really made of. This year is kind of a lost year, so they can really focus on stuff like that and getting their young players better. And like we talked about before, they can go out and spend money, so just because this year's down doesn't mean next year's going to be down.
Right, and spending money, bringing in new players, something that the 76ers have just done with Andrew Bynum. Did you get to see his arrival to the city, that crazy party?
I did, and what surprised me is how nonchalant he was about the whole thing. He walked in a t-shirt, doesn't acknowledge a big deal's going on, doesn't seem full of himself like the guy that got shipped out of Orlando. And it was really surprising, kind of nice to see.
Yeah, Andrew Bynum, he just doesn't care. Anything you could say to him, he doesn't care what you have to say. He's just going to go out, play the game, get the job done. Yes, he'll bring some controversy, but he doesn't care, and that's who he is as a person, and I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing for him, for the city, for the team, and we're still waiting to see if he signs a long-term extension, but I think he's a good player, and I'm happy to see how the fame and the fortune isn't affecting him. All right, Jackson, let's play a little odds game. We were working on this pre-show, so we're pretty excited to do this. I hope you guys are too. If you want to get a hold of us, find us on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at awise28, or you go to the website and find my Twitter handle there. Jackson, where can they find you?
Mine is Pocket Jax. It's POKETJJAX. I don't tweet much, but when I do, it's well worth it.
It is worth your time, and make sure to follow Jackson. Let's play a little odds game here. The odds that the Philadelphia Eagles win the NFC East this year.
I'm high on the Eagles. I've said it on previous shows. If Vick stays healthy, 65%.
You are high on them. I'm going to have to lowball them just a little bit. I think that the Redskins count them out. I don't think you're going to see any major moves towards the playoffs. But for me, it's pretty much a coin flip between the Cowboys, Eagles, and Giants. And that's why I got them at 33% for winning the division. All right, and sticking with the Eagles, what are the odds, what are the chances of Michael Vick playing all 16 games this season?
It'd be really easy to say 0 right here, because he's only done it once in his career in 2006. Since he's been with the Eagles, he's been playing 12, 13 a year. I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going 20%.
And I'm going to take the easy route and say 0. He's done it one time in his career, and right after he played a full season, he went to jail. It's not going to happen again. You're looking at 12, 13 games tops. Michael Vick, a good player when he's in there, but take it with a grain of salt. He's going to miss some time. And hopefully he misses it in the middle of the season, and so he's there for the playoffs. Because if he's healthy during the playoffs, you have a legit chance, but a 0% chance he stays healthy for the season. Switching over to baseball, Cliff Lee. What are the odds of him being on the team next year, 2013, on August 1st? That's the day after the trade line. Does he make it through another trade deadline without being shipped away?
I really want to see him stay on the Phillies. I think if they're out of it, they're going to be sellers next year, and there's really no reason to keep Cliff Lee. If they're going to be sellers, they could get a really good piece for him. I'm going to try and be optimistic and say they're going to be in the race and go 30%.
Yeah, you guys are going to hate me, but I say there's a 5% chance Cliff Lee stays on the team. I think that rebuilding is more than just a one-year process. We mentioned, they can go out and buy players. They got the money. They're not afraid to do that. It's just going to be difficult with the way the Nationals and the Braves are playing. And I think even the Marlins have some upside right now. But 5% Cliff Lee is on the team next year on August 1st.
And it really says something that 30% is optimistic. Just so you know, it's not looking good for the Phils.
All right. Well, we mentioned Andrew Bynum earlier, waiting on a contract extension. What are the odds of him signing a contract extension with the 76ers?
Well, from what I've seen so far and the way he's been talking, I think he really likes Philly and likes the idea of being a mainstay in their lineup for the future. I'm going to go pretty high, 75%.
Yeah, I'm even higher. I'm so much even higher. If I said that right. I'm going to go with 76% chance. I think he stays. I think he likes it there, and I think he has the opportunity to be the number one guy. He didn't get that in L.A. because he played second fiddle to Kobe and even to Gasol sometimes. So I think Bynum's going to enjoy being the number one option, and I think 76% chance. But we're both really high on him staying. All right. Now, with Bynum on the team, we know that last year the 76ers took the Celtics to Game 7 where they lost in the second round. So they were one game away from making it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. With Bynum on the team, do you think, what are the chances that they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals this upcoming year?
I do think they're going to be better. They're going to have a higher seed, which is going to help. But there's Miami, Chicago, Boston, Indiana. It's a really tough road in the East. Even though they got better, I think Miami somehow is going to even be better than they were last year.
Miami picked up Ray Allen, so.
Yeah. I think Boston, I know they lost Ray Allen. They got Jason Terry.
Fab Melo in the draft.
Yeah.
Which I called, by the way. You know, I called that. I said Fab Melo should go to Boston, and he did. Go on.
There you go. That's more fantasy analysis by Alex Wiseman. I would say 33% chance.
And that's fair, and I understand where you're coming from, but I really do like Andrew Bynum, and I think with the guard play they have up there with Holiday, I think Holiday is a potential breakout point guard this season. I think pairing him with Bynum gives him a legit down-low option. And if you look across the landscape of the Eastern Conference, Bynum is now the number one center. A distant second would have to be Roy Hibbert, but I think Bynum really helps them, and I think that in terms of matching up down low, nobody can in the East. So I think there's a 60% chance they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals this season. But it's gonna be tough. You know, they went 7 games with the Celtics last year. They did lose Iguodala, replaced with Bynum. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I have them at 60%.
And we should bring up something else too. Derrick Rose, he's a question mark.
Yeah, with Chicago, he's gonna miss some time. It seems like he will all year, and I think he's gonna start. He won't be starting with the team this season.
And they beat Chicago last year in the playoffs without Rose. If they meet the Bulls again and they don't have Rose, they're a better team this year. I think they'll walk through that series, and you never know. A couple games here and there, and they could be in there.
Yeah, that's a good point. One last little odds game here. Chances that there's an NHL season this year?
Honestly, I don't know all the facts and everything with it, but just the things that I've seen and hear are really not very optimistic. I'm gonna have to go with 25% chance there's a season.
Yeah, I'm hoping there's a season. I'm in a slow email fantasy hockey draft, so I hope all that work is for something. So I'm gonna go with 51%. I'm hoping there's a season. All right, that about wraps up today's show. Be sure to check out more Philadelphia sports news on Candyman.com, and you can find us on MrFantasyFreak.com. See you next week.